Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this, I believe, episode. Let me double check so I don't get this wrong.
I believe
Seven.
it's seven. I thought it was six.
Seven. Nope, it's episode seven.
Wow. Well,
Yeah. Welcome to episode seven of the Growth Genesis podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the balancing act that is work, personal life, and mental well-being. As an entrepreneur, it's not as easy to balance when you are in business for yourself as when you're working for someone else. And
yep,
so today we're here to talk about that. We're here to share some strategies for maintaining a healthy work life balance. Now, I must preface that we are not experts in this thing by any stretch of the imagination. We are just figuring this out along with all of you, but we're here to share some things, some struggles that we've had, and some things that we found that may not have been helpful to us in figuring out that balancing act. And really just we're here to discuss the impact of mental health and entrepreneurial success.
yep. And
Yeah, you can't succeed at this while you're stressed, folks.
no. And before we kick this thing off, we're doing a couple new things. We're actually recording visuals this time for YouTube viewers. If you're listening, I think you can actually do a visual. So if we can, I'm going to do that. And you guys, we'll leave a poll up. You guys can vote whether you think we should leave the visuals on or off. So basically, calling us ugly or not. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Um, and we're audio settings for me have changed, so let me know if you guys can't hear me very well, if you want me to speak louder. It's supposed to cut out some of the background noise. I had this really annoying chair back here that would just creak, so now I'm sitting on my bed. I pulled it way forward so that you guys could possibly get a better listening experience. Yeah, so
hashtag
visuals.
startup entrepreneur life.
Yeah, we'll make it out the mud soon. And then we've also got some stream beats in the background. Let us know if you guys prefer that or if you just prefer raw talking. It should be just nothing but a hint of it. But if it's still like too loud or you don't prefer it, we'll also have a poll for that below as well. Um, and yeah, so how about we
You'll
get this
also just
show?
be able to tell. You'll also just be able to tell in editing, Dan, if it's too loud.
I could do that, but I'm a man of the people. I'm a man of the people. So
That's fair.
we've
That's
got
fair.
like what 3 viewers, but doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So
I'm a man of three people.
alrighty. So I guess we'll actually get started with this. Who wants to lead, me or you? No, doesn't matter to me. So
Well, I think I'll start it off. Um, some of the challenges of balancing like the work, yeah, like the work life balance. Um, and I think the idea of the work life balance kind of came from the idea of the 9 to 5 and how the 9 to 5 in this particular like economy, especially nowadays, has kind of stopped being just like a 9 to 5 and then you can turn your brain off, turn off of work mode into being something that kind of just takes up all of your time. And that's especially true with the entrepreneurial circle, but I think it's starting to become very true with the traditional 9 to 5 too, which is why people are so focused. People, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, are so focused on trying to figure out that work life balance.
yeah,
Um, and as tough as it can be in the 9 to 5, it's even tougher when you're an entrepreneur because you don't have set hours. You don't have, like, unless you make them for yourself, you don't have set hours, and there's always more work that needs to be done. I have a hard time with this because oftentimes, like, we'll just be having a chill evening and I'll be working until late in the evening um, because there was stuff I didn't get done earlier in the day that I wanted to, or I did get the stuff done, but I'm constantly thinking, oh, there's another thing that could be done, another thing that needs doing. I need to go do that, and so I'll find myself working late into the evenings, even if I don't want to, and it's really challenging, especially when you are in business for yourself, to turn your brain off of work mode because there's part of it that is almost like fear motivated, where you're like, I have to get these things done in order to make sure that I have more money coming in.
yeah,
And so you find yourself just working all the time. out of stress, and that is just not
It's not
that is
it.
not a good that is not a good time.
Yeah.
And like something for me, just to share a real quick strat for like the maintaining the healthy work life balance, um, is to write out a literal physical list of things to do, but then have an end time. It's like, okay, I'm going to stop no matter where I am in this list. I'm going to stop at 5 p.m., like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. And whatever doesn't get done, then too bad. Maybe I mismanaged my time or stuff like that. Got to get more efficient at completing the things that need to be done within a specific time limit. But that's just it. Is setting a rule and forcing yourself to stick to a time where you're like, okay, I'm not working anymore. Um, and then having someone else in your circle, like I know this probably can't, probably not everyone can do this, but having someone else in your circle, like for me, it's my wife. It's like, hey, stick to this, you know, like put the phone down, put the laptop away. Like we're not in work mode anymore,
Hmm.
and that is something that can be very helpful. It's uncomfortable a lot of times, but it can be very very helpful. And so doing things like that, or finding and implementing a strategy. I know everyone's different, so finding and implementing a strategy that may work for you, um, can basically like work less and ensure your success because you're not stressed. If you're working all the time and you're stressed like crazy, you're not going to be nearly as successful as you are going to be if you set yourself solid time limits and develop methods to be efficient and get work done in those time limits. A, you're going to work much more efficiently. B, you're going to get more done because you're going to figure out how to work efficiently. And C, you're not going to be stressed out because you know that, hey, the workday ends at this time of day and I can actually turn my brain off of work mode and not be in that 24/7. And because you won't be in work mode 24/7 and stressed, you'll be a lot more successful.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Um, yeah. I think a big thing with the entrepreneurial and work life balance with like the hours and whatever, like some people work some there's like the difference in people, like in human abilities or difference in personalities. I think a lot relies on your work life balance relies a lot on that, because I know some people who can just be like, I'm gonna get work done, I'm gonna do it right now just because I thought of it and I'm actually gonna be productive. And I know some people, including myself, who's like, you kind of got to get in a mindset and in a mode, and you got to get working, So, but I found works for myself for, and apologies if the camera is not focusing. This is a $30 Walmart webcam. I promise there'll be something better in the future as long as a better mic too. But back to what I was saying. Um, I think with a lot of people, including myself, I make a to do list the night before. I think we mentioned that in the last episode, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Make a to do list night before, and I set a start time. So like I told, hey Google, 9 a.m. set alarm, got to get going. And I think then I just do it either until that list is finished or until I have something else that comes up. And I set breaks. I give myself like timed breaks. I think is a huge benefit that I've done, because a lot of times if you're like me, it's you get locked in, right? And then once you're locked in a little bit and get a little bit like you go and grab some water, then I just want to cruise and I just don't want to do anything. And I think if I just went all into that, then I would not get back to work during the day. So I just like, okay, I'm a little burnt out for a second. I need a refresher, so I set myself like 45 minutes, and I do something relaxing. I'll watch an episode of something, or I'll sit on the couch and read a book, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That's what
As
I'll
long
do.
as long as it's not doom scrolling.
Yeah,
Doom, like
I don't really advocate it in any way.
yeah, doom scrolling is the easiest, fastest way to lose ridiculous amounts of time and get to the end of the day and be like, crap, I didn't do
Yeah.
anything.
the only time I ever like allow, well, for myself, and now even I don't even really do it or try not to do it, is like when I was like at the dentist office and I'm just sitting there. I can't
That
tell
makes
if someone's knocking on my door or not. But I it's just I think it's like such a brainless activity and it takes up so much time. It's like if you really care about entrepreneurship or building yourself in a way that takes that much time out of your day, where it's a lifestyle, I don't think, unless your lifestyle is doom scrolling, I don't think it's a very good idea to actually incorporate that behavior at all. But
yeah.
yeah, back to what I was saying. And also, if you're like me, single guy or single girl, we're not sexist around here. And if you're just at home and you want to do this stuff, I think you can give yourself a lot of hours. And I think that's what's crucial in making the process faster, especially if you can make these hours productive and not just hours. But I think if you can make those hours productive, um,
Shout out to Imam Ghazi and the monk mode
yeah,
protocol. I can't full send. I can't full send monk mode. Like I'm a married man, and there's a lot of things that I need to do, but it like in the aspects of monk mode that I can do, I'm planning on jumping in tomorrow actually and experimenting with the aspects of the monk mode protocol that I can do.
yeah,
Um, and like for those of you who don't know what that is, instead of me trying to explain it, just go look it up.
yeah. It's on
Um,
Iman Godsi's YouTube channel.
yeah, it's 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 incredible stuff. And I feel like that could help me be a lot more productive. Because it's often said, like I've heard it said, and this really is true, that the task will expand to fill the time that's given to it. And
Yeah,
so if you like if you give yourself an entire day to do one thing, you're going to take the entire day to do that one thing. Whereas if you give yourself an hour to do something, you'll get it done in an hour, and then you can move on to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. And so, things like that, and um, just like I can't be completely absent from social media because that is part of my work. Like that is how I promote my business. Um, but intentionally like setting limits for how much time I am on social media, what I'm doing when I'm on social media, stuff like that. Like setting the timers in the apps, or like setting things on my iPhone to where it'll like yell at me and let me not open Instagram after I've been on Instagram for like 30 minutes a day. Stuff like that.
yeah,
It really does go a long way. I went through a
mhm,
period of time I went through a period of time where I uninstalled social media from my phone completely and was only using it to promote my business from my laptop. I didn't have it on my phone, or anything like that, and that was actually really good. I'm thinking about going back to that
no,
because that was really good and helped me save a lot of time.
I
So
have
yeah, I'm gonna I'm
I've
gonna
done
get
that
off.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, it really does help. I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but yeah, go look up Iman Ghazi's monk mode.
yep.
Good stuff.
I think if you're trying to learn how to do this yourself, a good framework to go with is just make a tier list, not a tier list, a list of things that you know. Yeah, this is S tier. This is B tier. No, but make a list of things that you're spending time on throughout the day. This is one of, I think his name's James White. He made Atomic Habits, but
Oh
um,
yeah, that. Okay.
one of the best books you can ever do about changing your lifestyle in any way, shape, or form. But you make a list throughout the day of things that you're doing, and you need to like you need to go through and prioritize them. So if you, and I mean this means anything. This means uh going on a walk, right? Or this means uh going to the gym, whatever. Or going on your phone, watching YouTube, watching Netflix, whatever that time spent is, or working. You need to prioritize those. And
Yeah.
then also set hours of the day that have your your list of, when you're awake and when you're asleep, and then you need to categorize them based on priority and hours worked and stuff. And if you're finding that you're spending 2 hours doing social media, or doom scrolling, or just chilling on YouTube or Snapchat Spotlight, if you're a weirdo, you need to go
Who
through.
even uses who even uses Snapchat?
I have it, but it's like literally just to keep in contact with very few individuals. And the moment I'm on there for longer than 10 minutes, my brain feels like it's gonna melt. But um,
Yeah, that's
you,
fair. I haven't had Snapchat installed on my phone since 2020.
yeah, it's been a minute. Um,
And even then, I only had it for like a week, and I was like, why do I have this?
it's pretty pointless. Literally, once you're out of middle school, it literally has zero value. I feel like you can do anything through text messages. You don't need Snapchat. But I have some people on there that refuse to use iMessage, so whatever.
Right?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but um, so make a tier list, structure your day, and then you need to set boundaries and make things. I think what he does is you need to make the things that you want to do more desirable,
Mm.
by human nature, and you need to also make things more. I don't know the right words, so I'm just going to say more hideous or less desirable to the things that you need to spend less time on. So if you're doom scrolling, one thing you can do is you can set your phone to black and white mode. I find this works pretty decent. It's just because colors on your phone stimulate your brain like anything else. So if you set it to black and white, then you're essentially creating less stimulation. You can set time
Unless
limits.
you're, unless you're me, a photographer who really enjoys black and white images.
That is true. But you can set time limits. And you need to there's just read the book basically, but there's a bunch of different ways on how you can make things less desirable and the things you don't want to do, and things that you do want to do make them more desirable. Like you can do rewards, whatever, like rewarding yourself. So like, let's say I wanted to work 4 hours a day and get this done. Get this done. Reward said A comes in here. Whatever. There's a bunch of different ways you can do that, but
Yeah.
you need to just look at your life in a reflective manner and just be like, this needs work, this doesn't. Yeah. So, and
Go ahead.
and oh, I was gonna go on a little longer spiel about because I didn't finish the question. But what were you gonna say? If it's
I was just gonna say in the while we're kind of on the topic of rewards, and one of the or not rewards, but like making the things you want to do more desirable. Um, one of the a good illustration I have for that is something that I recently did with fitness. I would like to be in better shape. Like gain some more weight that's like muscle. Yeah, that's actual like muscle stuff. And just be more fit, higher stamina, higher endurance. But I'm not really one for like weightlifting and stuff like that. But what I did pick up was mountain biking. I love flying down way too skinny of a trail at Mach Chicken. Um, I don't even know how fast that is. It's like Mach 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's Mach Chicken. So but I've very rarely done that in my life, but it's something that I really enjoyed when I did do it, and so I picked up a mountain bike last week, and the weather is kind of crappy, so I've just been riding it just around my neighborhood because it's been wet and sloppy and rainy and gross. But as soon as that sun comes out, I'm gonna go hit some actual trails. But doing doing something that I love doing that also propels me in the direction of being more fit. And I was like, okay, I want to be more fit. How do I make that something more desirable? Mountain biking.
yeah,
And there you go.
solid. Yeah,
Side note, the amount of money some people will spend on mountain bikes is insane.
yeah. There's a lot of little hobbies like that that you would not be surprised until you start actually spending it yourself. Like snowboarding, I was like, dude, how much does it cost to buy a board and bindings and boots? Oh,
Like,
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
like
And I love board sports. It's like one of my big things. I mean, I got my skateboard right here. I love longboarding. Snowboarding's been super fun when I haven't been able to go as much as I want, but you know. But
I
back
was
to oh,
I
what were you
was
say?
I was gonna say I thought photography was expensive. Like this combination right here is like 45 grams ish. But people are spending $12,000
Yep.
on a single mountain bike, and I'm like, what? I I I don't even have the brain space to process that. Anyway, I
Yep. A lot of hobbies can get really expensive. Back to balancing personal life. I think someone gifted me something on Steam. So if you heard that, I got gifted something on Steam. Woo! Don't know what it is, and I'll check it later.
I didn't hear that, but nice. That's always a good feeling.
Viewers will probably hear it.
As long as it's not something cringe.
It might be. Who knows? We'll
We
find
all
out
wanna
later.
know.
Well, me and Paul will find out later. As
We'll
far
have to mention it next episode because I know for a fact all three of our viewers really want to know what it was.
yeah, um, as well as balancing personal life, for me personally, Paul has a wife and has some friends and family out in Reading, which I used to live in, but that's besides the point. Um, I moved to a new town far about an hour and a half away from my old town, so I really don't see my friends that much. I live with one other guy, and so my personal life has been kind of diminished as in far as like activities that I feel like I'm obligated or friends going out, whatever that I need to do. Which, you know, it is what it is, but it is nice for business, truthfully. But I think what a lot of people want to do is they want to do half and half. You know, they want to do I want to be an entrepreneur here, and they put I want to play Fortnite over here or whatever it is. You know, no judge or hate if you're a big Fortnite guy. I mean, I used to almost went kind of semi-pro a little bit for it too. So whatever, just just plugging that in there. Um, but basically, if you're, I think a big thing that a lot of people they're like, well, my personal life's gonna go away. That's yeah, that is true. But also not. It's a matter of priority. I think if you really want to expedite and grow fast, you need to dedicate more time. What you do now pays off later, regardless what it is. If you wanted to go pro Fortnite, the more time you spend now is going to pay off later. If you wanted to build a business, the effort and time you put in now is going to pay off later. So I think like it's for me, I want this to pay off sooner than later. Truthfully, I do because there's things I want to do. I'm in my 20s. I want to kind of go all over the world and see some things and stuff while I'm still young and don't have family obligations and whatever. So I'm in a little bit more of a rush. So what does that mean? I got to start dedicating more time to this. And sure, that might suck in the short term. You know, might not really want to get to play as many video games as I want, see as many shows as I want, or whatever. But it's a trade off. Everything's a big trade off with business. It really is. Like everything is a big trade off. And so what are you going to trade what for what, you know? So I think with personal life, it's if you're like me, young, don't have any family obligations and have the gym or whatever else for your personal priorities, I say give it more time than what people with families and stuff can. But this needs to be focused time, I believe. There's there's a TED talk on it. There's so much stuff. It's called like deep work, where you're like
Yeah.
locked in. I'm sure someone's experienced it in school. Like you have a deadline or something, and you need to like lock in. There's like a different ways to train yourself how to do that. I'm still getting better at it day by day. It's just by
Welcome,
making. It's by
welcome to
making. What'd you say?
I said, welcome to flow state.
Yeah, flow state. That's another word for it. Flow state. You're locked in, and those people who can lock in really really well succeed exponentially because, like, I think it's like 2 hours of being in flow state is the equivalent of like 8 to 16 hours of mediocre work, like in an 8 to 9 space, 8 to 9 or 9 to 5 or whatever job you work. 8 to 9 would be crazy, but
That would suck.
whatever it is,
13 hours, let's go.
yeah. But whatever it is, that it exponentially grows your your business here. So, or whatever you're working on. So that's another thing. And as far as mental well being, um, I think a lot of the entrepreneurial stuff is not for the weak minded. And if you feel like you're weak minded, you can work on that. You can change that. Believe it or not, you are not, because I've watched a video recently where this woman's like, your set of programs, whatever your parents, religion, whatever puts onto you, you are those programs, and you can change those. Truthfully, I believe that. Um, Whatever it is. So if you're a set of programs, you can change how your brain works, how you function as a person, how whatever. So with the mental well being stuff, if you're not a tough person, I think you can. I'm not necessarily the best way to give advice on how to be a tougher person, but you can watch YouTube videos, read books, or whatever else to help you grow into that. Because you need to be resilient. You need to be resilient in the way that you're not going to get what you want all the time. Actually, almost never. You're going to get what you
Yeah.
want. Um, and it sucks. And you're going to get a lot of no's. Someone being
A
in
lot.
sales,
So
you're going to get ignored. I mean, I had 2 new leads this week. Tried contacting them, completely ghosted both times. You need to be resilient to that. I was just in a meeting with my mentor, and she was talking about like, so she has all these sellers like me under her and her team, and she's like, I normally start out with a lot, and I get whittled down to 2 or 3 people. She's like, because people just are not resilient. They don't see results right away, and they leave. They're unconfident in themselves, and uh, you need to be confident in yourself in this game. And you need to be resilient to changes and whatever else, and also be resilient to the fact that you're not going to succeed right off the bat. And I think that's so important to growing as a person, regardless in any area. Like Paul here with mountain biking, he's not going to be the best mountain biker first time he steps on a bike. It's just not possible. Um, and when I
as long
went
as
to
I don't break anything,
yeah, and it's
that's a good day for me.
yeah. And when I started going to the gym, I was like skinny fat, 180 pounds, could barely bench a plate for 1 rep. Um, uh, I'm not gonna be Sam Sulik or C-Bum or whoever my first time lifting. It's just not gonna happen. You're gonna go a long stretch without seeing results, but it's gonna pay off later. One of the funnier stupid things I hear is it's like a fart, bro. You're gonna fart and you'll smell it 10 seconds later. The stuff you do now, you'll reap rewards later. You know, it's such a stupid saying, but it's so true.
It's so true.
So,
Oh, why do I like that?
yeah, life is like a fart, bro. I mean, fart now, you wait to see results later. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's with those 3 things: balancing work, personal life, and mental well-being. That's what I would be. My hot take is, just to sum it up in one short sentence: prioritize what matters to you, um, and based on your responsibilities, and be a resilient and growing person, and accepting of hardship, and
Yeah.
being able to walk away from it. So, yeah. So is there
I
any?
think I think one more thing that can be helpful in the work life balance is if your work is something that you enjoy, and people are like, wait, oh, like what does that mean if you enjoy your work?
Mhm.
And it's like, well, I view that 3 ways. One way is you don't like the process, but you really like the result of the process. The second is you really like the process, and the end result is kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, of course that is what that is, you know, like the end result of the process feels good, but you enjoy the process more. And ideally, the third
Is both?
is is some combination of the first two, where you love the process and the end result of the process fills you up. Because if you don't necessarily like the process, but you really like the end result of the process, the dopamine that you get from finishing the process is going to make you want to do the process again.
Yep.
And,
And
and then if you combo that with something that you already enjoy the process on, then
win-win.
your yeah, your work becomes something that you enjoy, and your work life balance then goes from, hey, this is what I do for work. I really love what I do for work, but also I can turn my brain off of work mode, go into family mode, go into my life mode, and then when it's time to go back into work mode, I'm not dreading it.
Yep.
And so it doesn't feel like hard transitions from like work mode, family mode. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, I gotta go back to work, and it's just this messy, just
Yeah.
transition back into work mode. Where if it's something that you can like snap into and out of as easily as possible, then that definitely does help. Like me, I'm a photographer. I love doing this kind of stuff, and so there's aspects of it that I don't like, like a lot of the like marketing stuff, media, and all that jazz. But overall, I really enjoy what I do for work, which means that when I slip out of work mode into just life mode and then go back into work mode, I'm not dreading going back to work. I'm just like, oh yeah, all right, cool. Now we're doing this again. You know,
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And we, on our bulletin board here or whatever, it says to discuss strategies. We kind of went over that already with strategies and specifics of those strategies, like what Paul was just saying was
Yeah.
a strategy. Um, but also like back to what he was saying about having this like, I think a lot of people want to view work as work, but you can view it as like a thing that you're passionate about, and I think that's what sets like a lot of people really high up. Like Tony Hawk never hopped on a skateboard and said this is work the first time he did it. I mean, eventually it did become work, but I'm sure he loved it enough to enjoy the process and the results of landing a new trick and whatnot. If you can apply that same mentality to work, I think you're basically unstoppable, really, because you're gonna enjoy the process and you're gonna enjoy and receive the rewards. You know, it's like ice cream with the cherry on top. You know, um,
Here's the question though: do you eat the cherry first, or do you kind of like eat around the cherry and then eat the cherry?
technically cherry first. So I guess you don't get results first,
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, but that's a little off topic. But you know, just
yeah.
okay. We have here discuss the impact of mental health and entrepreneurial success. Well, I think
Go ahead.
uh, mental health and entrepreneur. I mean, everyone wants to be in a better state of mental health, but I think also like whether you're going through the rough season or the good season, staying true to your goals and what you're really driven for and what you've set for yourself, I think is going to come out on top is significant. Not wanting to go to the gym but going, it's gonna make a difference eventually. And so I think mental health is always changing. A lot of people, and this is not to bash anyone, but a lot of people view mental health as like it's a solid state thing. Like I'm either in a bad place of mental health or I'm in. And I think it fluctuates, you know, like you can have half your day be and then half the day be good, you know? And I think with having good mental health and attributing to mental, I think just having good mental health in general is just to have a set of morals and also just the way that you build up your mind to be is gonna it's gonna stand out on top. I've my mental health has significantly changed since I was in high school. Um, I don't care as much about what people think anymore. Um, I've definitely become a little less easy and more susceptible to depressive states. And I've been a lot more accepting and truly more graceful with myself. And those are things you just have to pick up and learn. But
Yeah,
I think treating it like entrepreneurship and just getting better every time as you go and just controlling your emotions and stuff like that, I think will play a huge role later on. And a lot of people just want to use mental health as like, well, I can't fix it. You know, I'm depressed or I'm sad or whatever. Like, sure, everyone has rainy days, but you can change your overall mentality so that those mental health little offsets that they claim to have are not such a big deal. Like I know people do mental health breaks or whatever, and yeah, you might need a little break or whatnot. But I think truthfully, changing your mindset is gonna significantly change the way you view mental health, as in the way it's not like I'm diagnosed. It's just I'm in a bad spot right now. Let me fix
right.
it. Let me come back, and I'll be better off. That's just a little rant, but I think um, you're not diagnosed with something. I feel like. I mean, you can get clinical depression, but like, or whatever. Like, I guess some in some way, shape, or form, you can probably have some states that affect your mood that way. But for
Yeah,
the average person, it's all mindset, and I believe shifting your mindset is going to significantly change the way how you feel. So,
yeah, and I mean, there's also just the fact that if you're always stressed and depressed, then you'll never be success. I know that's cringe, but it fits.
if
Um,
it's
it fits. It fits. If you're always stressed and depressed, then you'll never have success. It's just factual. Um, and so really taking the time to check in with yourself and go, how am I actually right now? And then whatever the outcome of that is, to really look at that and then go, okay, what needs to be changed? What do I need to do to change where I'm at mentally right now?
mm-hmm.
Um, and then just basically take that into account when you're working and when you're not working, and see how your mental health changes over different tasks that you're doing when you work, or whether you're in work mode or life mode. Like, what are the differences in how I'm feeling mentally when I'm in each of these two modes, and what can be done to make sure that I'm in good mental health all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's I feel like it's a lot more important than people give it credit for,
Yeah,
especially if you're trying to succeed in this entrepreneurial space.
yeah, and I think people just got to learn that you can change your mental health.
Yeah,
You can, because you can. I'm sure you've met people who've been in grumpy states for years. Like that one like rare uncle or faraway uncle. That you never see that often. He could be like the biggest, grumpy jerk guy. He's been that way for years. That's like all those things you can change. And I think a lot of people just don't want to change them or think that they're diagnosed with that. Like, this is just the way I am. This is just the way I am. There's some things
right.
that you learn to grow up with, but you're like I said earlier, you're a set of programs and set of things that have built up your mind the way it is, and that you need to learn to. You can change all of those things. It's not impossible, and I think living out of and living in a way where you truly believe you can change and become a better person and actively working towards that. And I'm not saying by any means that whatever depressed state you're in right now, that's your fault. Boo hoo you. I think, yeah, you can go in through some rough times. And like what Paul was saying, you need to look back and see, why am I feeling this way, whatever. Because I don't want to deny the impact of mental health or deny the impact of going through rough times. But I think once you're out of that deprived state, you can look at yourself and be like, in a self reflective manner, like, okay, girl A rejected me and now I'm mad or I'm upset or I'm really, really depressed and think I'm not worth it. You can look through that and be like, it wasn't that deep, what she said, whatever, whatever. There's a lot of things that you can go through. And by no means are me and Paul therapists or
You
like anything else on this podcast. We're not professionals by any means. We're
are
just
just
two
a
dudes.
couple of dudes.
But that's what I truthfully believe. And as truthfully as in my personal life, living with that type of mentality, if I can fix this, I can change myself, has made me
Yeah,
a much better person and a much more mentally stable and healthy person. So, yeah.
I think just should probably wrap this up. But one last thought, at least in the mental health space, is if you've just come out of a time of being like stressed and anxious or depressed or what have you, and like you're working, you're trying to figure out this whole entrepreneurial thing, and you find yourself stressed and depressed, and then later you're like, oh, I'm not suddenly, like you come out of that being stressed and depressed. It's like, look back and go, okay, this is how I was, this is how I am now, what changed?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can figure out what changed, then okay, this is what changed. I started responding to things this way, or reacting to things this way instead of this way. So then, okay, if this is what changed, how can I implement that in my daily life going? so that I don't end up back here.
Yep.
If that makes sense. Self-awareness, basically. Go practice your self-awareness,
Yeah.
folks.
Just a
I'm
small
not very good at it. I'm working on it as is. I'm no professional at the self-awareness thing, but I'm definitely better than I was.
This is a small little tidbit. What I do about try to do it every month is I just go sit down for an hour, go through some self reflection. Like, what am I working on? I mean, what's working? What's not working? You know, and being having some constructive criticism about yourself, and then moving with that forward. Yeah, it's just looking at yourself with a self respect, but also just looking at yourself with the mentality of you can always be 1% better, always can be, and it's
Yep.
and that doesn't mean you need to hate yourself now. You're getting better like anyone else. No one's perfect, and
Yeah.
no one's gonna be
And
perfect right off the bat either. You know, we all learn things. Look at yourself as a kid. You know, you learned how to be potty trained. You learned how to walk and stuff. You're gonna learn how to be a better person if you truthfully believe and look at yourself that way. You're gonna be a better person.
yep,
So,
it's a fact, folks.
yep. So before we close off for today, I want to say if you guys haven't joined the Discord already, Discord will be on the link tree. You guys can join that at any time. Feel free to check out the other platforms that we stream on, or well, we don't stream, but upload on, like on YouTube. And I think within these next couple upcoming weeks and months, we might be open to taking on some guests. So if you guys would be interested in sharing your entrepreneurial journey and going on a guest additional podcast with us, feel free to leave that in the Discord or in a comment or whatever, or reach out to me and Paul individually. And yeah, we want to thank you guys for tuning in on the Growth Genesis podcast. And well, we hope you're getting one better every day, or 1% better, one better. But
You're getting one better every day.
But we want to thank you guys for listening. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, folks. We will catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye bye.